Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the opportunity to allow us to present Airbus's passenger to freighter conversions. My name's John Skelly. I am the Business Development Director for our freighter activities at Airbus. I work in the freighter marketing team, and my role is to assist with the sales and marketing of our freighter portfolio. We are increasing our freighter portfolio. We have launched a number of products in the passenger to freighter conversion market, and this is what we'll be concentrating on today. A little bit of background: I've been with Airbus since 2002. I started in flight physics, moved on to research, and I've been in Airbus commercial since 2010. So this aircraft is MSN 835. It had its entry into service in October 2020 with Qantas Freight for Australia Post. It offers some 9 tons more freight than its predecessor, which was a 737-400, and it's one of our latest products that we've brought to the freighter conversion market. So this presentation is in 2 parts. The first part, I'll go over a market outlook and tell you how we see Airbus's view on the freighter market. And in the second part, I'll be talking about our passenger to freighter conversion products. So if we have a look at the freighter market from now up till 2038, what we see is a requirement for some 2,500 aircraft over that period of time. Of this, some 1,500 of these aircraft we expect will be converted aircraft, P2F conversions. And we've broken these figures down into 3 parts. So the first part is the small freighter segment, which we call the freighter segment from 10 tons to 40 tons. The second segment is our medium segment, which we break down into aircraft from 40 tons to 80 tons. And the third segment is the large segment, which is freighters with over 80 tons of payload. Now, as you can see, in the small segment, we expect all aircraft in the segment over the next 20 years will be converted aircraft. In the medium segment, we see a split. We see a 50-50 split between converted aircraft and new-built aircraft. And in the very large aircraft, we see the lion's share being new aircraft. We do see some aircraft being converted in the larger segment, for example, the 777-300 ERSF, but this aircraft is not a general freighter aircraft. It's very much for the express market, so we see its need somewhat limited, and we expect the lion's share of this market to be new-built freighter aircraft. If we have a look at what's happened in world air cargo traffic in terms of billions of FTKs per year over the last years, we can see a consistent increase in the market. However, there was a drop in the 2008-2009 crisis, and then we've seen a new drop in 2019 due to COVID. Now, it must be made clear this drop in activity due to COVID is largely due to belly freight. A lot of passenger aircraft aren't flying anymore, of course. That means an awful lot of belly freight is not being moved. However, what we have seen, if we look at the effects of dedicated freighters going into and out of service, that up till April last year, the beginning of the crisis, a lot of aircraft were going out of service, were being stored, and some aircraft were coming back into service, but the balance was very much on the side of aircraft being stored. Since the crisis, what we've seen is an awful lot of aircraft coming out of storage. So there have been some 100 freighters de-stored since April 2020. That means that we are seeing a much higher demand for dedicated freighter aircraft. And what we have seen is even aircraft such as the 747-200 come out of storage. And if we have a look at the kind of movements in wide-body freighters over this period of time, we've seen it's been almost constant. There's been no real dip in the movements of wide-body freighters over the COVID period. E-commerce has very much boosted the market. It has played a big part of the recovery of the freighter aircraft coming out of storage. If we have a look at how we see the market over the whole next 20 years, we can see the effects of COVID, and we can see the effects of the 2008 crisis. But what we are expecting to see is the market recovering completely, and the market continuing to increase at some 3.1% over that period of time, with express cargo being particularly strong at around about 4.7%, and general cargo being about 2.7%. So now that we've had a look at the market, if we can talk a little bit about our product portfolio. So Airbus has entered the aircraft conversion market. If we have a look at the family of aircraft that Airbus is now offering in the freighter community. So first of all, I'll start with the A321 P2F. This is a very popular and very capable small-sized market aircraft. We've had a lot of interest in this aircraft around the world. There are now 3 aircraft in service for Titan and for Qantas. The aircraft is doing very well. The 320 P2F will come out this year from its prototyping and should be certified. This is what we see as a low-risk domestic and regional freight aircraft. Then we look at the A330-200 P2F. This aircraft is in service with Egypt Air and is a really superb product for long route flying in the medium body aircraft market. It's particularly good for long haul general freight. Then we have the A330-300 P2F, which is in service with DHL, a number of aircraft there, now 9 aircraft in service, the aircraft doing exceptionally well. And this aircraft we see especially good for the express freighter market because of its higher volume. We also, of course, have the A330-200F, which is our dedicated freighter aircraft, production aircraft. This aircraft has been out of production for a couple of years now, but the resale market of this aircraft is extremely good. There have been some second-hand aircraft come onto the market, and they have been very quickly picked up, and we understand at good prices. So the aircraft has really found a strong interest in the market today. We have now 4 conversion centres in conjunction with our partners EFW and ST Aerospace. These centres are in Singapore, Dresden, Guangzhou, and Mobile. The A330s have started conversion in Dresden, the A320s in Singapore, and now A330s in Singapore. And the A320 line has opened up in Guangzhou. And we are also looking, because there has been a very high demand, we are looking at further lines in China and in the US. If we have a look at the A320 family P2F aircraft which are in service, so as I said, 3 aircraft with Qantas Freight and Valair, and 2 aircraft with Titan and BBAM. And then we have another 3 aircraft in conversion at the moment, with a number more coming. We can't talk too much about the deals that we have in the making, but it is a very strong interest, and we have a lot of potential customers for the aircraft. The big advantage of the A320 family in the P2F market is the proven cargo loading system in the belly of the aircraft. There are a lot of advantages in having a lower deck cargo loading system. Your cargo is better protected, you get better security, you get easier tracing, the cargo is protected from weather, You also increase your cargo revenue potential. You have easier cargo operations. You can load more cargo in the same turnaround time. You have efficient handling of high-value goods and efficient handling of high-density freight. The lower cargo loading system also has a much bigger outward opening door. And this is very important for improving the working conditions for people. There's a lot less risk of back injury for ground staff, and it's a much better loader working environment. You also, of course, have lower handling costs. Fewer loaders means lower labor costs, and you have a faster and much more predictable turnaround time. If we have a look at the feedstock availability for the A320 and A321 family, and I'm sure I don't need to say this to a lot of people, but there is an awful lot of feedstock out there, and the feedstock will be increasing over the next years to come. So the COVID crisis did accelerate some of the feedstock availability, but even without the crisis, feedstock is definitely going to be there in the upcoming years. And what we are looking at in this graph are aircraft in the average age of 15 to 20 years, which is where we see the right age for aircraft conversion. What I'd like to show you next is the ramp up that we are having for conversions of the A320 family P2F. So for the A320 P2F family, there are 3 conversion centers in China, in the US, and in Singapore. And last year, we had slots for 3 aircraft. But as you can see already this year, we have slots for 9 aircraft. So a dramatic increase. 2022, 14 aircraft. 2023, over 20 aircraft. And by 2024, we expect to be converting over 30 aircraft a year. So you can see it's a very steep ramp up, and it's ramping up to meet demand. But despite this increase, we are still selling incredibly well, and we have sold out largely till 2024. So despite the increase in production, we have seen a very strong interest in the aircraft. And keeping in mind that slot signature for this category of aircraft are usually only 6 to 12 months prior to induction. And now we're seeing that, in fact, slots have sold out years ahead of induction. So there are still aircraft available through leasing companies, of course, for customers that need lift straight away. We certainly help make that relationship happen. But as we can see, the competition is fierce, and it's a commendment to the A321 product that this has also drawn out competition. So this is competition for our partnership with EFW and ST Aerospace, but we do acknowledge it. We have Precision Aircraft Solutions, who have now got their STC approved in the US for converting the A321, and they have MSN 891 in conversion. Sign Draco have also announced a conversion program, and they have MSN 1523 in the process. And C Cubed have also announced their intention to convert both 320s and 321s. And they have an A320 in the conversion process, which is MS 963. Well, moving on from the A320 P2F family, let's look at the A330 P2F family. So as I said, there are 9 A330 P2F aircraft flying. There are 3 flying for Egypt Air and others flying for DHL. There are 3 more aircraft in conversion now for DHL, for Stratos, and for China Development Bank. Plus, we have some customers that we can't announce right yet. But the aircraft is growing very much in popularity. The aircraft that are in service are doing extremely well. And this is due to the quality of the product and the desirability of the product in the conversion market. So to give you some of the features of the aircraft, we have, first of all, a courier area, which has a 9G barrier wall and a smoke curtain, which can have up to 6 occupants. We have a very versatile main deck freighter interior. This is very important that we have Class E main deck cargo compartment for fire hazard. And we have up to 26 pallet positions on the A330-300 P2F and up to 23 pallet positions on the A330-200 P2F. Of course, there's the main deck cargo door, which is exactly identical to the A330-200F cargo door at 41 by 101 inches. There's also reinforced floor and floor panels, of course. These are very strong. It's a major part of the modification to take out the existing floor panels and replace them with much stronger floor panels for the cargo aircraft. A number of additional modifications include the doors 2, 3, and 4 being deactivated. The windows, of course, are plugged. There's a smoke detection system put into the aircraft and a lighting system, and of course, the water and waste system is simplified. And very important to mention is that the design weights of the aircraft that you put into conversion will initially be kept, unless, of course, you want to update them or change them. And this can be done through an SB with Airbus. If we have a look at the conversion, retirement, and fleet growth up till 2030, this graph is a little bit complicated, but what it shows you is if you have a look on the left-hand side of the graph of the status in 2020, we had a number of 767-200 SFs, a number of 767-300 SFs, and a number of A300-600 P2Fs. But these 767s and these A300s are going to be going out of service. And there will be some conversions happening coming into the future, but the 767 conversions just cannot meet the gap. There is a very big gap widening between aircraft that are available and aircraft that are needed in the market. In particular, the 767 is now getting to be a very old aircraft, and it's getting harder and harder to find feedstock. There was, of course, some increase in feedstock due to the COVID crisis, but this bubble will shortly be burnt out. And so we can see a need for some 150 A330 family aircraft in around about 2030. So to meet this demand, again, we're ramping up, and we're ramping up quite considerably. Last year, there were 7 slots for A330 P2F conversions. This year, we have 10 slots. Next year, there will be 14 slots. And in 2023, there will be 18 slots through 3 conversion centers, being China, Singapore, and Dresden. So we are ramping up to meet demand. But once again, the program has been incredibly successful, and we continue it to continue being successful. And once again, we are sold out until 2024 on slots for A330 P2F conversions. So again, keep in mind that our slot signatures are usually in a much shorter period of time than what we're seeing now. So the program has performed extremely well. And as I mentioned at the beginning, we are looking at opening new lines. Thank you very much for your time. In conclusion, what we can say about the Airbus P2F family, it's a very promising program. The aircraft are very popular. Slots are selling fast. There is availability through lessor companies that have taken conversions on speculation, and will certainly help customers find the right relationship with those companies. We also now have the A321 P2F, the A330-200 P2F, the A330-300 P2F are all in operation, and those aircraft have all entered into operation very successfully. There is a ramp up on the A320 family P2F and the A330 family P2F underway to increase the number of conversions that are possible. And we see very healthy markets for the A320 family and the A330 family in the passenger to freighter conversion market. So thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate it. And I hope this has been informative for you.